Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to be reading another inspiring kind of story. This is called Cold Feet. It's by John K. Adams. I watched Helen, my wife, my window, drift through the house each day, like smoke wafting from an exhaustion candle. I could relate, but what could I do? I was a dearly departed whose passing sapped the juice from Helen's life. That's right, what could I do? What do I explain being here at all? Neither here or there, in or out. A presence within the balance. It's admittedly hard to describe. Those poor souls who think they are thinking the shortcut out. They arrive when they are parties just starting. Who knew? Even thinking you're finished when always more to do. My assigned location, the house where I spent most of my life. You wouldn't see me at the mall. Someone seeing me might point and exclaim, but you're, yes, what of it? You think you have all the answers. You've heard the saying, rest in peace. One of the greatest punchlines never fails to get a laugh. There are other perks. One thing I can say, less paperwork over here. But back to Helen. Some might liken her grief to sleepwalking. But the sleepwalker always has a purpose, even if its lives unstated in a dream, like a leaf floating in the sluggish eddy of the stream. Helen had lost direction. She always devoted herself to me. She deemed everything outside of her family unit a distraction. Now, each listless action spawned others equally languid and distorted. Filing the time was now her only purpose. After lingering over a photo of us for the 100th time, as she sat down, asked, shattered silence, she'd strike a random discord while passing the piano, then closed the lid too loudly. The slightest sound jarred her, and so she did less. Daily adjustments framed in the foyer, leaving it not quite aligned. Like a ghost, I thought, we have so much more in common. But I wanted to do something for her. I never wanted her to suffer on my account. My suffering had ended. I always been there for her. But now, it'd been gone for a month, and Helen's life became a faded photo forgotten in a bottom of a sock drawer. It could been so much more, and it is. Haunted? Yes, but not by me. How could I tell her I'm okay? Great. In fact, do not worry. To live? Of course, things have changed, but they aren't so dire. One anyways. Here's an expert's the worst. Sue, our daughter, brought casseroles every visit. How many of these did she expect Helen to eat? The freezer was packed. Helen couldn't muster the energy to cook, or even a light in the oven. Our son, Jeremy, exchanged them for carrot cake he purchased at his local bakery. Helen lit up when Sue arrived. They would talk and laugh and chatter over hot coffee. They'd play rummy. Sue could get her open up about past days and struggles. She told Sue, I talked to Hank at night, and he presence comforts me, as if he is here next to me. But then came the tears. She broke down sobbing. When they embraced, Sue said, well, all is well. Helen nodded. I just want to apologize real quick. I'm not wearing my glasses and it's kind of hard for me to read, so I just want to apologize if anything. But when she left, Helen's mask came off. The gloom descendants again. Calling it depression would be too hopeful. All three were sorrowful, conflicted, and grieving in all of their heads. No one was more surprised than me that my passing caused so much pain. I wanted them relieved. Not that they wished me gone. They wanted the end of my suffering. I didn't want to pass it to them. You have to eat, Jeremy told her. You're wasting away, Mom. Dad wouldn't do that. I didn't. How could I let her know I'm okay? That is well beyond imaginary. He came bearing carrot cake and played our old favorites on the piano. She laughed at his snowmanship. They singing duets and tears streaming down their face. The kids compute for her affection in a good way, but they felt they were soaring up all the wall in verge of collapse. Each stopgap solution demanded an antibiotics effort, but sort of complete overhaul. What could they do? Bring in the cranes? Helen effort herself one pleasure. One alone, she tried on her favorite outfits, some never worn in public. She turned and posed before a long mirror in the bedroom, thinking of happier times. I would joke and she would be inspired to be a mannequin, always the first to wear the last. I stood behind her like I used to. Now the only visible if it looked at me, and oblique reflection of wine glasses. Going about her business, focus on the dress. She hold her pose. If she saw me, she didn't let on. I'd make a little wave, but she just stared. Distracted for the moment, and returned to her fashion show. My cold feet were another steady source of humor. Jokes with wool socks worn to the beach at the height of summer always brought a laugh. She reminded me to wear them. You know how nipply it gets. I was was the resident expert of all cold things. Reference, references to my ice cold toes dated as an illness progress. Helen had a habit of bordering on the obsessive. She placed glasses, pens, her phone, everything on her desk exactly. All right angles and equal spacings. The pure conversation. Teasing, I nudged things slightly, asked. My humor included her, though never said aloud. She thought she thought in this I was clumsy, bothering on stupid. By way from recognizing, by way of reconnecting, but not wanting to scare her, I resumed my old nudging practices. Helen would mumble, look about, and shake her head impatiently. Sometimes I heard her exclaim, "Stop it," under her breath, but she gave no sign she thought it really was doing to me. One morning, her restlessness motivation her to pull my clothing from my closet. It was a sign of recovery. She laid things on the bed, sans hangers, in a pile to toss and one to donate. I'm sure she implied too late criticism by the mirroring size of the donation pile. She empathetic my socks drawer and stuffed a plastic bag in wool socks. She shook her head. Who would wear these? Undecided, she placed a bag between two piles. Finish of sorting, Helen gathered the discard and carried them out to the trash burial behind the house. She re-entered looking drained. She closed her eyes, leaned against the closet door. 2 long steps brought to our kitchen table, where we sat heavily with her head in her hands. I could do nothing for her. The doorbell rang. Helen didn't move. She came to an instant knock. Oh God, what? I can't. When the door chimed again, Helen pulled herself up and walked to the front. She pulled the door open to reveal a well-dressed stranger. He said, "Good morning. I hope I'm not bothering you. May I come in? I have some important information to share." "No, thank you. I'm not interested." Too late. She tried shutting the door, which he blocked with his foot. He pressed away into the house and kicked the door shut. "You wouldn't regret it. You'll see. If I have your attention for a few minutes." He tried to maintain a facade of friendliness, but his actions betrayed him. Helen backed away. She couldn't defend herself against the intruder. "What are you doing? Stop." She ran towards the kitchen. He blocked her, gripped her arm. Her face contorted. She punched, but there was no match. I couldn't wash and do nothing. Helen screamed and forced her to the floor. I covered him like a blanket and enveloped him in icy air. Sensing the sudden chills, he shivered. It was his turn to struggle. The release Helen and trashed against invisible restraints. What the? He groaned. His frost-covered fingers streamed vapor as if they dry ice. No. Rolling across the floor, he sprung up, lunged out of the door, and escaped. The door creaked shut behind him. Helen laid on the floor, speechless. She could scarcely fathom what happened. Rolling her knees, she pulled herself right up on wobbly legs. She held herself close, so cold. I resumed my spectral presence. Sudden the brace against the wall. Helen made her way into the bedroom. She mumbled, "Never doing that again." A pair of wool socks imbered from the plastic bag onto the bed. Still shivering, she slipped them onto her hands like mittens, rubbing them together. Turning to the mirror, she held them up, modeled them. Did a jazz hands clap. I stood behind her, reflecting in the mirror. She stopped. Helen recognized me. I made a little wave. Her eyes met. She nodded so slightly, I almost missed it. Echoing my own, she waved. She knew I stood by her. Almost smiling, Helen said, "Don't know if you're trying to scare me to death, Hank, or just give me a chill. But I've decided to keep the socks after all. God knows it can get nipply." She dabbed her eyes with her sock-covered hands. Thanks, Hank. You'll always come through. I hope you guys enjoyed this story, and if you guys did, let me know by liking, subscribing, etc. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.